Hi, I'm Anna Redmond. I'm going to be talking about Emile Durkheim. Durkheim was born in France. He was raised Jewish in a Catholic society, but he himself was agnostic. His main field of study that is often credited with founding is sociology. So a lot of his religious theories revolve around the social aspect of human beings, and we'll talk about that. But the masterwork of his career was a book he wrote in 1912 called The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, which we get a lot of his ideas on religion from. So in this video, I'm going to talk about Durkheim's definition of religion, the overarching ideas in his theories and how they're applied to his ideas, and then what makes him different than the other theorists that we've discussed. So Durkheim, like I said, was studying sociology, so his definition has a lot to do with the social. His definition of religion is that it's a unified system of beliefs and practices relative and sacred things. So sacred things are things that are set apart and forbidden. And then beliefs and practices which unite into one single moral community called a church, and all those to adhere to them. So basically, he's saying that a religion is a system of beliefs and then the practices of those beliefs. And then he also discusses church, which to him is a community of people that are practicing this religion together. So the main overarching theme that we'll see with all of his different theories on religion is that there's a duality between social and individual aspects of humanity. This can be seen in the sacred and the profane, and it can be seen when looking at the difference between beliefs and rituals in religious practice. So this duality of social and individual, when looking at sacred and profane, is demonstrated by the fact that to Durkheim, sacred is something that is constructed by society. So something that's sacred is something that is greater than humanity. It's something that's untouchable, almost forbidden. And then the profane is the more mundane, ordinary things that one experiences in their daily life. So it's more of an individual-based idea. This separation of sacred, profane is something that we'll come back to a lot when discussing his theory on religion. So something that he thinks defines religion as well is keeping sacred and the profane separate from one another. So this desire to keep them separated has led to the formation of holy days and temples and sanctuaries, and then it's also led to the creation of rituals and ceremonies. So he believes that rituals are central to religion, but he also believes that beliefs are the aspect of religion that kind of coincides with rituals. So he says that beliefs express the nature of sacred things, so the nature that human beings and society have given to these sacred things that they are looking at. So beliefs are those ideas about the sacred things, and then rituals are rules that describe how to treat the sacred things and the ceremonies that go along with that. So, like I said, according to Durkheim, these rituals are more important than beliefs when it comes to a religion, because they're an emotional experience within a community. An example of this where we see that he'll discuss is where we see this emotional experiences in the rituals of a totemic society. So he discusses this totemic principle, much like the other theorists have. But he says that the worship of a god in a clan is the worship of that clan itself. So the religion of the totem spirit forms society, but the society also forms the religion, so they're reliant on one another. And then, like I was discussing earlier, the rituals that this society does to worship the totem spirits, this coming together to have this religious ceremony or ritual evokes a feeling that there's a higher power. So basically, this power is felt from the gathering of the community, which is where the social aspect comes into religion, and how important it is to Durkheim to have that community and how much that influences religion. Totems are symbols that evoke these sentiments. So these sentiments would exist without those, because these sentiments are based on society and they are a community influenced feeling. And then another example of this feeling that comes with a ritual, that this feeling that is caused by the gathering of one's community, is the idea of a negative cult, which Durkheim discusses. So he discusses positive and negative cults. A positive cult would be rituals of affirmation and celebration, so for example, like a ceremony of initiation. And then negative cults show more of the power of society, because they're rituals that put restrictions on people's instincts. So people basically, you need to suffer in order to have successfully participated in these rituals. For example, sacrifice or fasting or asceticism are all ways that this negative cult idea is shown, according to Durkheim, when practicing religion. So when we compare Durkheim with other theorists, we see that idea of prohibition. Tyler discusses the denial of instincts. Freud discusses privations, which is the prohibitions of these instincts that a religion sets on people. And Durkheim talks about this idea of self-denial that we see in negative cults. Something else that Durkheim talks about, that other theorists have talked about, is the idea of spiritual beings. So Tyler talked about how religion is based on worship of spiritual beings, but Durkheim disagrees, and he thinks that the classification of sacred and profane in one's life is more important to the definition of religion than worship of a spiritual being. He believes that a spiritual being is not required as an aspect of religion. He brings to light Buddhism and Jainism, for example, which don't have the worship of spiritual beings involved. Durkheim also discusses souls, similar to Freud. But he discusses souls in the sense of the totemic principle again. And he says that souls are basically a bit of the clan in each member. So each person has a bit of society in them, and that is what a soul is in religion. So it's the manifestation of that spirit in each of us. Something that Durkheim discussed, I think that makes him a lot different than the other theorists that we've talked about, is he talks about how religion is actually scientific. So primitive man didn't really know about limits to human intelligence, so when they created religion, they made a stable set of facts that outline this religion. This doesn't necessarily make a religion true, because those facts were man-made and not necessarily accurate. However, it does make it comparable to science, because it shows that both in science and in religion, human beings can take a point of view outside of themselves. So in conclusion, the social aspect of religion is the most important part of the religion to Durkheim. So he emphasizes these rituals over beliefs because of the experience that a community has when they are together. And that is the key aspect of religion, is this gathering of a community. So one could not be oneself without society, and likewise religion cannot be religion without society either, which is Durkheim's main idea. Thank you.